You won't believe how valuable these old Washington quarters are. Some are worth hundreds, thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. From rare silver errors to early mint treasures, these coins could change your life. Stay till the end. Your pocket change might be a fortune. A small 25-cent coin that most people ignore could actually be worth more than your phone, your laptop, or even your car. So stay with me until the end of this video, because I'm going to explain how this happened, what to look for, and how to know if the 1965 quarter in your hand is one of the rare and valuable ones that collectors are paying huge money for. Now, let's go back in time for a second. In the early 1960s, US coins were made mostly of silver. Every quarter before 1965 contained 90% silver. But silver prices were rising fast, and people started hoarding coins because the metal inside was worth more than the coin's face value. The government had a big problem. Silver was getting too expensive, and people weren't spending their coins anymore. So in 1965, the US Mint made a major change. They stopped using silver in quarters and started making them from a new metal mix, a copper core with layers of nickel on the outside. These are called clad coins, and they are still used today. But here's where things get really interesting. During that change, some leftover silver blanks called planchets were still sitting in the mint machines from 1964. By mistake, a few of those silver planchets got struck with the new 1965 design. That created one of the most famous minting errors in modern US coin history, the 1965 silver Washington quarter. These coins look almost the same as a normal 1965 quarter, but they're made of 90% silver instead of copper and nickel. They weren't supposed to exist, and that's exactly why collectors go crazy for them. Now you might be wondering, how can you tell if you have one of these valuable coins? It's actually not that hard. First, check the edge of your coin. Regular 1965 quarters have a thin copper-colored line along the edge, because they have a copper core. But a silver quarter will look bright and solid silver all the way around, no brown line at all. That's one of the biggest clues. Second, weigh your coin. You can use a small digital scale, the kind people use for jewelry or coins. A regular clad quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. But the silver era quarters weigh around 6.25 grams. That's a small difference, but it's enough to tell them apart. So if your 1965 quarter weighs over 6 grams, do not spend it. That could be the jackpot. Third, you can do a simple sound test. If you drop a silver quarter gently on a hard surface, it makes a clear ringing sound, like a little bell. A clad quarter makes a duller, flat sound. If you've handled a lot of coins, you'll notice the difference right away. So why are these coins worth so much? Because they are incredibly rare. Only a small number escaped the mint, and many were probably spent or lost over the years. The few that have been found have sold for unbelievable amounts. One of these 1965 silver quarters sold for more than $8,000 at auction. Another one graded in top condition sold for over $12,000. And a few examples in near-perfect mint state have been valued at $20,000 or more. Imagine finding one of those in a coin jar, or in your grandparents' drawer. That's a life-changing discovery from just one little quarter. Even if you don't find the silver version, it's still worth checking your 1965 quarters carefully. Some have other minting errors, like double strikes, off-center images, or unusual edges. These can also bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars from collectors who specialize in error coins. Condition matters too. Coins that are shiny, uncirculated, and free of scratches or dirt are always worth more than worn-out ones. If you think you might have a rare one, don't clean it and don't try to polish it. Cleaning can damage the surface and reduce its value. The best thing to do is send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can test it, weigh it, and confirm if it's really struck on silver. Once it's certified, you'll get an official grade, and the value can go up instantly. Collectors pay a lot more for coins that are verified and graded by a trusted company. It's amazing to think that these rare coins are still out there. Every year, new ones are discovered in old collections, in change jars, or even in rolls of quarters from the bank. People spend them without knowing, and others find them by accident. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your pocket change. The 1965 quarter is special not just because of its value, but because it marks the end of an era. It was the first year without silver in circulation coins, and that change affected the entire U.S. coin system. Finding one that still has silver from the old days is like holding a little piece of history that slipped through time. It connects us to that moment when money literally changed its metal, and when a simple mistake created something that collectors would treasure forever. So next time you get change at the store, or you're counting coins at home, take a second to look closely at your quarters. Flip them over, check the edges, and maybe grab a small scale. Because you never know, you might be holding one of the most valuable quarters ever made. And the best part, it could be sitting right in your pocket right now. Let's start with a little bit of history, because this story is wild. Before 1965, U.S. quarters were made from 90% silver. But in 1965, silver prices started climbing fast, and people began hoarding coins. The government realized they couldn't keep making coins out of real silver anymore, so they changed the metal. Starting that year, quarters were made from a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. These are called clad coins, the same type we use today. Now, in 1966, the mint was still adjusting to this big change. It was only the second year of the new clad design, and things were a bit chaotic. There were still leftover silver planchets, the blank coins used before striking from 1964, sitting around in mint facilities. Sometimes, those planchets accidentally got mixed in with the new copper-nickel ones. When that happened, a few 1966 quarters were struck on silver planchets instead of clad ones. These are the famous 1966 silver transitional era quarters coins that were never supposed to exist. They look almost the same as any other 1966 quarter, but they're made of silver, not the usual metal mix. And because so few of them slipped out, they're incredibly rare and valuable. Imagine having a coin that everyone thinks is just worth 25 cents, but collectors would pay thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars for. That's the power of a mint era like this. So how can you tell if you have one of these rare quarters? There are a few easy tricks. First, look at the edge of the coin. Regular 1966 quarters have a visible copper-colored stripe along the edge, because of the copper core. But silver quarters have no copper color at all, they look completely silver all the way around. That's your first clue. Second, weigh your coin. If you have a small digital scale, you can do this at home. A regular 1966 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams. But a silver quarter will weigh around 6.25 grams. That's a big difference for coin collectors, and if your coin is heavier, that's a sign it could be the rare silver version. Third, listen to the sound. Silver coins make a clear, ringing, ping sound when you tap them on a hard surface or drop them gently. The newer clad coins make a duller sound. If you've handled both, you can tell right away. Now let's talk about the fun part, the value. You won't believe how much these can go for. One confirmed 1966 silver transitional quarter sold for more than $8,000. Another, in mint condition, was valued at $12,000. And depending on the condition, the shine, and the strength of the strike, some experts believe top-grade examples could sell for $20,000 or more. Imagine finding one of those in your pocket change that's turning 25 cents into a down payment on a house. But it doesn't stop there. Even regular 1966 quarters can be worth money if they have unique mint errors. Some have double strikes, off-center designs, or missing layers. These kinds of mistakes make coins special and collectible. For example, a 1966 quarter with a strong double strike has sold for hundreds of dollars. Another with missing layers sold for nearly $1,000. So even if your quarter isn't silver, it's still worth checking carefully, you never know what you might find. The mint also did something unusual in 1966. Because of all the changes happening, they didn't put mint marks on quarters that year. That means you won't see a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. All 1966 quarters look like they came from the same place, but they were actually made in multiple mints. That makes it trickier to track where certain errors came from, adding even more mystery to these coins. Now let's say you think you found one that might be special. The first thing you should do is not clean it. Cleaning a coin can scratch it and lower its value. Instead, handle it gently by the edges and keep it in a small plastic holder or coin flip. Then, send it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can weigh it, test the metal, and confirm if it's a real silver transitional error. If it is, you'll get a certified grade, and that's when collectors will pay top dollar. Every year, new discoveries are made. People find rare coins in jars, in old collections, or even in rolls of quarters from the bank. Some of the most valuable finds have been from ordinary people who just decided to check their change. The 1966 quarter is one of those coins that keeps the thrill of coin collecting alive because even after all these years, a few treasures are still out there waiting to be found. Think about it, there are millions of 1,966 quarters in circulation, but only a tiny handful struck on silver planchets. Finding one is like winning the coin collector's lottery. It's rare, it's exciting, and it could change your life. That's why it's always worth checking. So next time you get a handful of quarters from a store or go through your old coin jar, take an extra second to look. Check the edge, feel the weight, and maybe even do the sound test. You could be holding something far more valuable than you realize. And who knows, your next coin find might be the one everyone's talking about online. If you enjoyed learning about the 1966 Washington quarter and how valuable it can be, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. I'll be sharing more stories about rare coins that could be hiding in your pocket change, some even worth more than the 1966 quarter. And if you've ever found a rare coin or think you might have one, drop a comment below and tell me about it. I love hearing your stories, and who knows, your find might end up featured in one of my next videos.